get that article on War of the Rohirrim, which comes out next week, and you're starting to hear the usual suspects coming out early who got to see it at the premiere, saying it's
breathtaking,
amazing, it's breathtaking,
but lengthy.
But no, actually, some of the criticism was criticism. To their credit, they were like, the characters are uninteresting, and you want to know why? Because the main character is completely fucking made up. The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim first reactions are here, and critics are weighing in on the breathtaking but lengthy.
That's what she said.
No.
I mean, that's always something. When I'm really enjoying a movie, I'm just like
chirping.
when I'm really enjoying a movie, I'm just like, if only this finished sooner. That's what I would.
I know.
That's what she said.
Middle Earth is back on the big screen after a decade. If we go to the first review, it's pretty nice, right? War of the Rohirrim is a breathtaking jump into anime for Middle Earth saga. There is so much to love for the animated return of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings mythology, and it feels every bit as epic and stirring as you'd want. I cannot wait to see it again.
I hate that they're calling this anime. It's because it's a Western production with Western writers.
I hate that too.
And it is just like you have a foreign person like creating the animation bit of it, but the entire story is Western. There's nothing to do with anime.
No, to me, it has to be done in the East to be anime.
Yeah, so it is very much a Western take on anime, poorly adapting Tolkien. That's the best description of the movie, which is really long.
What's the story about?
It is the story of Helm Hammerhand. Well, it's supposed to be.
Well,
it's more the story about his daughter, who's unnamed in the appendices where they discuss this. But it's
doesn't have a name.
It's it's where Helm's Deep.
So they're going for appendices stuff now, huh?
Yeah, they did, and they decided to go full Rings of Power with it.
And it's about what, 2 pages of the appendices that they're going
about
off.
That, yeah.
And she's barely mentioned in it. And surprising, this what got me. You have 2 pages of appendices, and you still somehow managed to break the law. Like you even changed how he dies.
You gotta try,
only 2 pages of stuff to go off.
So the War of the Rohirrim captures the beauty of Middle Earth with stunning animation, perfect for anime. But despite my love for this series, its lengthy runtime and unengaging story kept me from fully connecting with it.
Ooh,
ouch. Ouch. And yeah, it's 2 hours and 14 minutes long. And you feel every minute of it because none of the language is Tolkienian at all. It just comes off as anime, but like a Western take on it as best as I, because I'm such an anime expert. Me and Ryan, total anime experts.
Yeah, I love it.
What do you think would be worse? Them not attempting to try and sound Tolkienian at all, or the absolute disastrous attempt where they did try it in Rings of Power, but just made them sound like retards?
Yeah, I'd rather you stay off it. I mean, the people are going to ask us, is it bad as Rings of Power? I mean, that's tough to get down to that level. I think in a lot of ways, it's more disappointing because of the people involved. I think it's more disappointing.
Truly, yeah.
I've been going back and reading a lot of the interviews from people like Philippa Boyens and what was said after the original trilogy, and I quite frankly think we're lucky to have got what we got in the first place, because their comments about it prove that they were 100. There was even one bit where they're like, no, the thing with Eowyn bit, that brought an entire different audience into the movie, which really lifted up Lord of the Rings to where it was. And they often talk about how they need to bring like more of a female audience, more female values into the whole thing. And these were all interviews back in like 2004. So you take that personality trait and drag it 20 years into the future, and they've just got more and more extreme as they've gone along with everything.
Especially when that's what they're at. I mean, like, you're trying to like pick apart the greatest trilogy ever made, and that's what the Access Media does. That's exactly what they do to try to get sound bites and stuff and influence the culture. It was an article I was reading about J.K. Rowling. It was MuggleNet, and one of the writers for MuggleNet said, like, we're not going to boycott J.K. Rowling, even though we completely disagree with her, because if we left, then we wouldn't be able to influence the conversation. So that's what they're trying to, that's what an activist would say. We're not going to just be fans talking about this show. We're trying to influence the conversation. So that's what the Access Media does. Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim has glimpses of that Middle Earth magic, but proves that it can only be as powerful as the characters we follow, which are sadly unengaging. The intrigue in its story lacks surprise, and it's got a lethargic pace. I was let down, and that's a pretty accurate description. Lord of the Rings of the Rohirrim is a gorgeously animated return to Middle Earth that features well-defined characters, not really, and masterful battle sequences, but occasionally predictability and unearned moments can hold it back. Unearned moments, you know what they're talking about? It's a very nice way of saying Hera and her existence in the damn.
You will fear me.
Like, they released 8 minutes of footage. And during the 8 minutes, it's about her. And like, what are you doing, you idiot? What are you doing, you idiot? Like, why are you there's orcs that stop going, you idiot. And it's like, everything she did throughout the entire 8 minutes was awful. And then she gets her father killed. And I'm like, why are you showing me this 8 minutes if this is your best 8 minutes of the entire movie? And this makes you look awful as a person.
That about sums it up. You saw it. That's the movie. My biggest question about Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim is why they used a medium as wide open as anime to tell a story of the world of man. I think it would have been fine. I completely disagree with this. If they told the story correctly, it probably could have been pretty good. It's not bad, but it's less engaging and unique than I would hope. Probably a fans-only affair. Not really, because the reason it's not engaging is because you deviated so far from what little is there of the story, and you decided to fill it in with modernity. That's why it just leaves you lacking. You just won't say it, and that's good. We're done. Frickin' Warner Brothers, man. So they got Harry Potter back, they got Lord of the Rings back, and fucked them up from Jump Street. Way to go.
And on the red carpet,
And
they got
DC,
back
we're about to do that
original actors. So they had big names on the red carpet back from they desperately want you to attach this to the original trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what about, did you hear, I saw some report about Viggo Mortensen, and they like really want him to come back for the Hunt for Gollum.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
they want to use digital makeup for the de-aging and AI stuff.
I don't know, man.
I'm not
For a whole
interested
film, I
personally.
think like it can hold up for small
This is
bits.
such a
but that's
bad.
a lot.
This
pretty
is
much.
such a horribly bad idea. I mean, they've denied it's 2 movies. So if you make 1 movie for The Hunt for Gollum and it's supposed to fit perfectly into the Lord of the Rings trilogy, why are you fucking with that? Like, don't do it. They dealt with that passage of time pretty well as they could have, you know, in Fellowship. Like, this is such a fucking horrible idea. And how is it expensive? You do that digital makeup and you're going to have an old ass Viggo Mortensen running around. You're going to have a body. This is going to double your costs on everything. It's like, why do this?
What was great about his character was he's freaking like his vitality. You know, he's like like the way he runs, the way he fights, all that stuff is very young.
He runs all fucked up all over the place.
He's just like high energy, and Viggo Mortensen is not going to be able to do that.
Dude, fully take on Amazon. And I don't know if they've rented out, I don't know what the rights issues are, but do the War of the Last Alliance, like before Amazon gets to it with Rings of Power. Just do that movie. That would be 2 movies. That would be awesome.
If you want Viggo, just do it animated. Do an animated movie, and you don't do it anime or whatever.
That's
but
true.
like, just do an animated movie.
But you guys saw what they did with Kirk and Spock, right? That technology is pretty cool.
But they didn't have dialogue. Which I think is where all that
and it
falls
was
apart.
basically a short movie for fan service.
It was beautifully done. It was beautifully done.
Beautiful.
I have a crazy idea. How about not do anything and just
How about no?
How about
That's
no?
the
How
idea.
about you actually release The Lord of the Rings on their anniversary, which will cost you nothing, and do a wide release, and you'll just make tons of money. Maybe add some footage. I wouldn't want to mess with perfection, but there is a lot of extra footage out there, and there was rumored that Peter was going to put that in someday, and it never happened. But how about do that and then not
Lord of
fuck
the
with
Rings
anything?
special edition.
Double special.
Double
That's the
special
only thing.
edition.
The only thing you can do, because what you're witnessing is the same thing Doctor Who went through, where the people that made the old thing aren't the same as the new thing. And Philippa Boyens was given 2004 feminism even back then, so now she's given modern day stuff now, and it's just advanced in the meantime. What you witnessed in Lord of the Rings was a product of the culture at that time. The people then were a product of the culture at that time, and they've just moved on.
They
You
moved
will
on.
not
They
be able
become
to make
different
that again.
people, and you're absolutely right. It will be Russell T. Davies. Peter Jackson coming back will be Russell T. Davies all over again. And anybody who had fantasies of George coming back to Star Wars, it would have been just as bad as well. I mean, these people change. They get rich. They get comfortable. They start hanging around the elite of Hollywood, get more disconnected with the common man when they were probably a little closer to it when they were in their prime. And we get fluff and garbage like this. Leave it alone. Leave it the fuck alone at this point. They love these roles so much. If they were asked, I'm sure a lot of them would come back in a second. But I say don't do it.
nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.